This James Muhammad with Dynasty 48.1 Talk Radio. Yeah, we're back and it's good to see you again, as usual. This topic today that we're going to cover is hip-hop. The rise and fall of hip-hop. Some say hip-hop is alive and well. Some people say it's on its deathbed. Well, that's going to be the topic we discuss today on this edition of Dynasty 48.1 Talk Radio.
1, 2. Check me out right here, yo.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Brothers and sisters! Brothers and sisters! I don't know what this world is coming to.
Dynasty 48.1 Talk Radio. Broadcasting from the mighty city of Dallas, Texas.
Brothers and sisters! Brothers and sisters! I don't
know. Beginning transmission.
Muhammad, welcome to Dynasty 48.1 Talk Radio. Beautiful topic today. Hip-hop, the rise and fall. Is it dead? Can it be saved? Well, to understand hip-hop, you have to understand its inception. You have to understand its beginning. Hip-hop started in the Bronx, South Bronx, sometime in the late 1970s. It was started and engineered and pioneered by a man named DJ Kool Herc, who used to give parties at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. Him and his sister Cindy would throw these parties, right? And at this party, DJ Kool Herc would spin the records. But he would never play the entire record. He would spin what they call the break. The break on the record was where a beat just played by itself without the artist, without the singing, just a beat. That's where the term break beats came from, and that's where the term break dancers came from, because they were dancers that would break over the beats of records that they would take on two turntables. One would spin the break on one record, then they would continue to break spinning on the second record. That was the first form of sampling. But we're going to go into the deep history of hip-hop, and we're going to take it way back to 1979, like this.
Emerging in the midst of the disco era, the Sugar Hill Gang were rappers delight buses on the scene, rapping over a song formerly called Good Times by Chic. The 1979 hit brought hip-hop to the global scene for the first time. By 1980, Curtis Blow emerges on the scene with a funky hip-hop track called The Breaks. Its indelible rhythm and hot go-go steel drums at the hook had fans going wild for more. By 1981, the first hip-hop battle in history was taking place between Kumo D and Busy B. Hip-hop had become a highly competitive sport, using lyrical wit to solve problems with the mind instead of with the power of the gun. It became a force against violence. By 1982, Africa Bambaata's on the scene with Planet Rock, a techno-funk hip-hop sound that captured the imagination of listeners with a futuristic funk that gave a guarantee of peace.
A guarantee of peace? Could hip-hop really, in its early inception, guarantee peace? In fact, hip-hop did make peace in a lot of communities. It was prevalent in the New York area at that time, and New York had a very severe and bad gang problem. People were killing each other. You couldn't go from one set to another. It was a lot like Los Angeles. But guess what happened? When Africa Bambaataa came on the scene, they started making a thing called the Zulu Nation. The Zulu Nation was an area or a territory that you can go into New York where you didn't have to worry about violence. You didn't have to worry about somebody getting killed. You didn't have to worry about somebody getting knocked off. It was like a real planet of our own, a planet of peace. I guess that may be where the term Planet Rock came from. But anyway, this was real. Hip-hop was bringing people together. A multicultural society was forming where the Mexicans could come, the brothers could come. Everyone would join together in this new climate of hip-hop. Man, it was dope, right?
By 1982, Grandmaster Flash was on the scene. They had made The Message and a song called Nasty. Hip-hop was on its way, growing and evolving into a new cultural expression. By 1983, Run DMC was on the scene with Sucker MCs. Pioneers of a new sound in hip-hop that would dominate with aggressive sounds and hot beats. Run DMC became the dynamic duo of hip-hop. With Jam Master Jay acting as a one-man band, they would later be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 1984, hip-hop would hit the big screen. The Treacherous Three were featured in a movie called Beat Street, a movie that encompassed the struggles of urban life in America. Although hip-hop was still in its infancy, this movie played a pivotal role in expressing and showing what was going on in inner cities to the world. And no doubt, the world was watching and will continue to watch for years to come. In 1985, LL Cool J rocked Soul Train with Rock the Bells, an aggressive hardcore hip-hop song in which Cool J dominated with hardcore lyrics that had fans jumping up and down and going crazy. Ladies love Cool James. By 1986, the Beastie Boys were on the scene with a song called No Sleep Till Brooklyn, which infused hardcore rock sounds with hip-hop. It would be the first of many songs that would incorporate the rock sound into the new genre. By 1987, hip-hop had taken a serious change. The streets were talking, and people were listening. Eazy-E and NWA came out with Boys in the Hood, which told the story and the reality of street life and gangs. It was a harsh reality that America wasn't ready for, but yet America needed to hear. The truth of the streets had now become the reality of modern American pop culture. In 1987, Rakim steps on the scene with I Ain't No Joke. His lyrical style and laid-back profile made Rakim one of the most admired MCs of his time. And he holds the accolades of being one of the world's greatest MCs. In most people's top 10, he's number 1. He ain't no joke.
Rakim Allah to God, man. Rakim? What more can you say? See, the beautiful thing about hip-hop at this time is it was okay to be original. Islam had a divine influence on hip-hop. You had rappers named Lakim Shabazz, Chi Ali, Queen Latifah, Africa Bambaataa. See, the African and Islamic culture, the black culture, was the pervasive culture in hip-hop. It was all about living a lifestyle of righteousness, being right and growing up into a god. It was teaching us for the first time that we was something more than niggas, that we had the power to control, fulfill, and guide our own destiny. Rakim was one of the artists at the forefront of that culture. So Rakim, we definitely gonna acknowledge as a hip-hop legend.
Rakim was born William Griffin Jr. on January 28, 1968 in the Long Island suburb of Wyandanch. The nephew of 50s R&B legend Ruth Brown, Griffin was surrounded by music from day one and was interested in hip-hop from its very inception. At age 16, Rakim converted into Islam, adopting the name Rakim Allah. His Islamic influences made apparent in his music, and to this day, he is still known as one of the world's greatest MCs. He has a style unparalleled and a deep mind that's focused on lyricism, dedication to the true essence of hip-hop.
Yeah, hip-hop was socially conscious. Rappers like Nas, rappers like Rakim, rappers were all over the place making dope, inspirational lyrics. But not only were the lyrics dealing with spiritualism, but they were dealing with the reality and the brutality of the street. Hip-hop has always been an informative conduit for letting you know what was going on in the street. But the consciousness to hip-hop was attributed to New York's multicultural society. Remember, New York was the birthplace of hip-hop. And one prevalent faith and belief and ideology that's prevalent in New York is Islam. New York has more mosques than any city in the United States. And that's why hip-hop embraced Islam. And to this day, Islam is the epicenter of hip-hop, and Islam is part of the movement and the main reason why socially conscious hip-hop groups like Public Enemy and Poor Righteous Teacher jumped on the scene in '88.
Hip-hop had evolved. It reached its golden age with groups like Public Enemy, Poor Righteous Teacher. Wisdom and knowledge was being spread through the streets. It became popular to be intelligent, and the rappers with the best lyrical content and metaphorical power were king. Divine knowledge of ancestral history made black youth a formidable contender for world domination. We had awakened to a new reality, that through music, we could change everything. And change we did. We wore red, black, and green to show our solidarity as a nation of black people that were determined to make our own fashion styles and way of life. By 1988, KRS-One is on the scene, dropping an album called My Philosophy, with lyrical wit and the power to inform the listener. KRS-One's lyrical style was indomitable, and globally, he is still viewed as a god among hip-hop artists. He formed the group Boogie Down Productions and became a leader of informative content, calling his style of rap edutainment. meaning to be educated while being entertained. And black youth were listening as mainstream radio played a song by KRS-One called Why Is That? KRS-One would continue to reign supreme over nearly everyone as he started a global tour teaching the world about metaphysics, science, and higher thinking and thought. KRS-One focused on the 4 sciences of hip-hop, DJ, MC, breakdance, and graffiti art. He also added that one other side should be added to hip-hop, and that should be clothing and design.
Hip-hop had reached a golden era. It was in the phase of teaching. It was in the phase of helping us elevate to a higher level. That's where hip-hop was going. That's where it went to with KRS-One, with Nas, with Poor Righteous Teacher, with Public Enemy. Public Enemy was saying statements like this: "Follower Farrakhan, don't tell me that you understand until you hear the man." What leader was it that was behind that inflection and that flow that made hip-hop grow into a positive force? That leader was none other than Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. Now I know why I know what you're saying. You're saying, Brother James, you just saying that because you got FY on your hat. Because you're a Muslim. Yeah, I am a Muslim. And I am a FY. But guess what? I got receipts, bruh. I got receipts. You want to see them receipts? Run the clips.
The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with the rapper Game. The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with the rapper Papoose. The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with rappers Migos. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with rapper MC Light. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with rapper Fat Joe. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with rapper Foxy Brown. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with rapper Ice Cube. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with rappers Redman and LL Cool J. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with P Diddy. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with DMX and Taraji P Henson. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with the legendary Dougie Fresh. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with rapper D1. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with 2 Chainz. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with Texas legend Bun B. Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan with Eminem. The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan, the true leader of hip hop.
Did I show enough receipts? Did you get all the receipts? Is that enough receipts? Okay, let me tell you something. This is what made America afraid. This is what made the government afraid. Because black revolutionary talk was in hip-hop music. And every child that listened to hip-hop music was thinking about revolution. Every child that listened to hip-hop music was thinking about social and economic reform, doing for self, starting a business, getting up off their behind and doing something great. Every black children was beginning to say, F the police. See, this is what was happening. When you saw NWA and Ice-T, when they first came out, they were doing socially conscious rap, even though it sounded different. Even though music sounded volatile, but was really the agenda of the day. What they were doing was telling you the truth. They were telling you what the news media was hiding. That there's a problem in South Central. That there's a problem in Long Beach. That there's a problem in Compton. That's what they was telling you. But a lot of us took it as negative music and we pushed them to the side. But soon, this socially conscious music that Ice-T and NWA was kicking. Matter of fact, let me kick a lyric from Ice-T. Ice-T had a song that was called Squeeze the Trigger. It said, cops hate kids and kids hate cops. Cops kill kids with warning shots. What is crime and what is not? What is justice? I think God forgot. We buy weapons to keep us strong. Reagan sends guns where they don't belong. The controversy is thick, but the drag is strong. But no matter the lies, we all know who's wrong. Homeless sleep on city streets, waiting to die with nothing to eat, while rich politicians soak their feet in the pool of the $10 million retreat. People hate people for color of face. No one had a choice in the racial place. A brother in Queens was beaten and chased, murdered dead in the street, a goddamn disgrace. Just because of his race, his life went to waste, and not one went to jail when the court heard the case. Justice or corruption, it's all in the lace. How can you stand to this? I can't stand the taste. Squeeze the trigger. That was Ice-T. That was Ice-T. You understand? Everybody said it was gangster rap. No, he was speaking socially conscious rap, but they was speaking it with no holds barred. They was speaking the truth. They was putting it down. And it was young people like myself that heard this and came to the Nation of Islam. I'm a product of what hip-hop was making. We are a social product and a conduit of what hip-hop was making. But if hip-hop has been under siege and under attack and taken away from us today, then what product is being made for tomorrow? And that's the next segment of our show. We have to understand that the Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan is a guide and a teacher. And Islam was at the forefront, starting with Afrika Bambaataa to Rakim to Kendrick Lamar. Islam is at the forefront of making something right. Even our brother, what's his name? Kevin Gates, who we featured on the show a few months ago, has converted to Islam. Islam is an intricate part of hip-hop. And right now, we got to see and understand what is the attack, what is going on, how does the enemy take over hip-hop.
Great nations cease to exist in one of three ways. They may be slowly absorbed and assimilated into another, more thriving civilization. 2, they may be forcibly conquered by another nation. 3, they may slowly but methodically degenerate into a collapsed state. In many cases, the first two causes, assimilation and conquest, often follow a long period of slow, drawn-out degeneration of moral values. Isn't this happening in hip-hop? Isn't this happening in our culture? Isn't this happening in our communities? Have we not been taken from a land and assimilated? Have we not suffered the conquest of an open enemy? Have we not gone through a long period in America where we're being introduced to degenerate and immoral music, movies, and imagery?
How do you destroy a people and their culture? You cause them to deviate from moral standards. You cause them to change and turn into wicked ways, and you make the wicked way seem fair. You make it seem like it's right. All of a sudden, people started making rhymes and started justifying all the madness that they were doing. Hey, nigga, I got this money. I got this money. What you gonna do? I'm making a cake. What you gonna do? All of a sudden, finances and money justified everything. What happened? Was it the fact that this is a natural course that we took? No, it was not a natural course that we took. It was implemented. It was planned by people against our rise. In the early 90s, brothers and sisters, there was a secret meeting. They said to the rappers, we need you to make music about guns, drinking, smoking, and crime. The reason why they wanted to do this is because they were making a new business and they wanted their business to thrive. And that business was called the Industrial Prison Complex. They wanted to put people in prison. They wanted to fill up jails. They wanted to reinstate a slavery, a new form of slavery. And this is how they did it. They infiltrated and took over rap because they saw that the youth that were listening to hip-hop music were growing in knowledge, growing in wisdom, and growing in power. And this was something that they could not allow to happen. Do you understand? J. Edgar Hoover, when he was the head and the director of the FBI, he said that he feared the rise of a black messiah. And they saw the rise of a black messiah when they kept hearing Farrakhan's name in hip-hop, and they kept seeing black youth growing exponentially and filling up the mosque and wanting to get more power and wisdom. So, what they had to do was create an immoral standard, something that would degrade you and make new rhymes about hostile action, violence towards women, and calling women the B-word, and calling brothers the N-word. So we went from positive and did a complete reversal to negativity and death.
And now we find ourselves living in a new culture, a culture riddled with violence and pain. Videos like this are posted on WorldStar for entertainment. Our sense of morality is gone and degenerated. We are lovers of violence and suffering. We are at war with ourselves and unable to see the true enemy that has placed us against one another through media suggestion. Dr. Wesley Muhammad made this point emphatically clear in this quote: the Jewish origins of porn rap and their agenda. If the Jews in the porn industry use porn to weaken Christian America, what do you think the agenda is for Jews behind porn rap? Student Minister Dr. Wesley Muhammad. And still today we see the proliferation of a decadent sex culture, a porn culture that's made to destroy the minds of children.
So now guns, gangs. Now it spreads like a plague to the East Coast. Guns, gangs, blood, crip. And in Chicago, everywhere you look, there's a gang and there's drugs, there's guns, there's death. Now, when you look at all of that, and you see us filling the jails, and you see us having no hope of a future. So here we are now. Our youth have been herded into behavior that is absolutely savage. But this was done by the government of the United States of America.
Once the morals were destroyed, it was easy to destroy us as a collective. It was easy for hip-hop to fall into darkness and to end up where we are today. Do you know that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb? Once they made money the primary agenda of hip-hop, not love, not culture, not changing the community, which it started off as originally, once money became the goal, then it became an individualistic ideology. All of a sudden, each rapper was looking out for themselves. I got the cars, I got the clothes, I got the minks, I got the girls, I got to take care of myself. It became a self-absorbed culture instead of a collective culture. Do you know that a few rappers making little money that will pool their resources can do more than a couple of rappers making big money? Do you understand? If all of us would come together, and then you need to read suggested books regarding this program. One of those books is called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. There is a relationship between us and them. And guess what? We're not the beneficial recipients of that relationship. We're at the losing end of that relationship because of our ignorance. The Jews, they control the music industry. Everything that you see coming out the music industry, everything that our children emulate, imitate, and go for, because we don't know our collective history, is because of what they put out there. And they put it out there intentionally. Just like how DJ Vlad intentionally put out a lie on the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. Why are you always attacking and lying on this man who's done no harm to you? Why do the Jews fear the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam, or organization that has never attacked, harmed the head of anyone unless they were attacked first? Let's make this clear. The Nation of Islam has not killed Jews. The problem that they really have, brothers and sisters, is the fact that when we rise, they fall. They do not want to share power, and they do not want to see your collective rise as a people. You understand? Music is the fastest way to get a black mind to change, because we are a people of rhythm. So they know that music, color, are medicines that change our mind and our thinking. So they control it. If they control the industry and control what you see, they control what you are. This is the fact. So can hip hop be saved? It can be saved if we would take control of our music. Take control of the music business. Turn it and make it our business to feed our community. You wouldn't have your enemy give you food. Why would you have your enemy give you thoughts? Would you let your enemy feed you? Would you let your enemy give you food and drink? Well, why would you let your enemy give you thoughts, ideas? Huh? That's like a cat teaching birds. Huh? Birds put their nest in trees. If a cat would teach a bird, he'd probably teach him to put the nest on the ground to make it easier for the cat to eat it. That's what's going on, brothers and sisters. We have to start educating ourselves. If we make less money with music while we start on our own, so be it. It's better to be in liberty than it is to be in squalor and in slavery and enslaved to the negative ideas of others. Let's think about it. It can be changed, but that change has to start today.
And forth in the fires of darkness, a new brand of clothing was born. A brand that the consumer could trust. The Dynasty brand. warning from the Honorable Mitzvahs Farrakhan. The Criterion at NOI.org today. You're watching Dynasty 48.1 Talk Radio on the Dynasty Network. Back to our show.
I love Dynasty
James
48.1.
with Dynasty 48.1 Talk Radio. We are back, and we're going to continue the history of hip-hop with a discussion with one of hip-hop's greatest entrepreneurial minds, one of hip-hop's greatest manager. He goes by the name of Craig Davis. He's managed Mary J. Blige, P. Diddy, Biggie Smalls, Dougie Fresh. You name it, he's been involved with it. Matter of fact, we had a chance to sit down with Craig Davis in a Zoom interview and talk to him about his relationship with Biggie and Puff. Yo, check out this interview on Dynasty 48.1.
And I saw where you was talking about Biggie's lyricism was due to his mother having a educational background.
Teacher, right. She was an English teacher, Mrs. Wallace.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Very, very, again, Mrs. Wallace, I went on the road after Christopher passed. We had the album Life After Death. And actually, Mrs. Wallace went on the road and we worked some markets, went around some markets. And she talked about her son. And it was just an honor even to be with Mrs. Wallace at that time, you know. It was a crazy time. But, you know, again, I've been around some crazy things and just been blessed just to keep going and be part of it. You know, just keep your head down and just keep working and just do what you love. Again, it's about doing what you love. It ain't about getting no big head. It ain't never even been about the money.
That's
it
right.
Really ain't. It ain't about the money.
That's awesome. I love it.
And then if you help others, and check this out, and if you help others, you're gonna get it back. It's gonna circle right back to you.
That's real.
Exactly. It's gonna circle right back to you.
That's real.
And that's for everybody out there. Yo, you out there, you're a producer, you see this artist, yo, don't try to jerk them, help them. If you're an artist and you need a producer, work with them and give them a piece of it. It's all about working together. Again, I'm going back to that. It's that
P. Diddy. Were you in that when were you working with P. Diddy and Andre when Andre was the head of Uptown, and P. Diddy was going to get the cheesecake as he talked about? I mean, were you?
That's a weird story, and I love Andre because Andre used to put us all on different missions. So I got a call one day from Andre, and I'm with a group. I was semi-managing at that time a group called Son of Berserk. It was out of the West. It was out of Long Island with Hank Shockley and Public Enemy. So they was around.
Yes, sir. Bomb spot. Yes, sir.
Right. But at that time, Andre's like, yo, Craig, you in DC? I said, yeah, I'm in DC. Yo, I got this kid. He go to Howard, and he want to know about the record business. I want you to take his number down, give him a call, and show him what the record business is. I said, all right, Andre, I got you. And he always will put us on missions to do stuff. And it was cool for Andre. Andre put you on a mission, you do it. What the heck, you know? So I called him up. This kid was named Puffy. I called him up. He said, yo, man, I got this night at this club. Yo, come on down. I'll make sure you get in. I was like, cool. And I had a promo day with an artist in DC. I did radio and stuff. Finished up with my artist. I said, well, let me go check out this joint and see what this kid is about. I roll up to the spot, and back then it was DuPont Circle. And he had this club. Yo, I rolled up in the spot. It must have been about 75, 100 people in line. I was like, oh, snap. This line is popping. I walked in, the spot was packed. Yo, he met me at the door. Hey, Mr. Craig Davis, my name's Puffy. Thanks for coming. He said, here, take this. He gave me a bottle of Dom Perignon. I looked at the bottle of Dom Perignon. I looked at him. I was like, yo, what is this 19-year-old kid give me a bottle of Dom Perignon? He looked at me and said, when you finish this, let me know. I was like, wow, who is this kid think he is? Oh, snap. Yeah. Yo, I checked out his move. Yo, he rolled the party. He gave the party. Him and his crew gave the party. The party was great. Great party. Wow. And I showed, and then we had vinyl. We had our Uptown Vinyl. I gave him vinyl. I said, yo, my job is to get vinyl out to radio people, to the clubs, to the tastemakers. We got to make this record popular. So we give it out. We talk about it. We let them play it. We make sure they like it. If they like it, they got to play it for us. So I gave it to him. We did that. I told him he had to hit the clubs and do everything around DC, hit Howard, all the universities. He did it for about 6 months. He said, yo, Craig, he said, man, that stuff is cool, but I really want to make records. I said, well, if you make records, you got to go up to New York. And that's when we went up to New York and started turning that up there.
Wow. That's amazing. That's deep. That's history. And personally for me, Mr. Davis, I was born and raised in South Bronx, New York. And so in that environment, you know,
South Bronx.
So the music, me living in Texas now or in high school, there was a major difference in music. You know, you have a certain style there, you have a certain style in St. Louis, you have a certain style in LA. You know, it's like music is so widespread and different genres of music. You know, the tempos are different. And it's like for me, for you, what would you say the difference between the 80s, 90s music to now, 2020? What's the difference to you in that?
Me personally, and I love everybody and all the music, you know, I love all y'all, but I just think back when the 80s and 90s hip hop, there was so many different varieties, types of hip hop music. And I think we just have one type of hip hop music now. You know, it's all about the glitter and shine of hip hop right now. Glitter and shine, but we had conscious, we had funny, we had educational, you know, we had political, we had all these different types of rap music, but we don't have it now.
Yeah. You had the comedy with That's Jeff and the Fresh Prince. You had the comedy, you had the political with Public Enemy, you had King's Son, you had X-Clan. I mean, you had every genre. He's absolutely right. I mean, even the skinny, and you had the fat boys music. And the skinny boys.
Right. You had De La Soul.
Yes, sir.
You had like House of Pain. White boys even had their joints.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But you had a variety. You had the female, had the hip hop. You had the Salt Pepper, or you had the Latifah.
Queen Latifah.
Or you had that even you had the little Moni who had that little accent joint.
Yep. From London.
Yep. The English accent.
And you even had Sweet Tea from back in the day. It's
right.
my beat, huh? What? But Vanessa Sequence back in the day. Man.
Yes.
It was a beautiful time in hip hop.
Man, Angie B. I mean, it was so many. It was so many. Now it's like, man, music is changing.
And now it's not that you just don't have a variety. You got one hot, a couple of hot rappers. You don't have no more groups of rappers no more. You don't have no duo rappers. You don't have all. Man, we just had so much different varieties, and everybody loved it. And every game ran together. When you had a hip hop show, everybody came to town. You had all the hip hop groups came to the big joint together.
Yeah.
You know, and they toured together. Everybody toured together. Man, them days was great.
Brothers and sisters, like Mr. Davis said, Craig Davis said, we can get the good old days back. Those were the good old days, but we can get them back. All we have to do is continue to teach and educate our children on our culture, on our music. Our music is so powerful and so instrumental to the development of the minds of our children. But it's no coincidence that they've taken music studies and music development and musical curriculums out of black schools. You think that's a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. They're not teaching you how to use rhythm and melody and harmony. There's harmony in music. There's vibration in music. There's life and love in music. And when you study harmony and vibration in musical form, you can learn harmony and vibration and unity in human form. It is very important to teach hip hop in schools and get hip hop taught in schools. Hip hop is taught in college campuses. It's taught in white college campuses. Why are white people studying hip hop? They're studying it because it was an art form that was born out of necessity. It was a art form that was born in the heart of the ghetto. It was an art form that came from a ghetto, degenerate bottom life to a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry. Why would you not teach that culture to black children? How to come up from nothing and define yourself as a god and write your history through music, rhyme, and rhythm. Why would that not be taught in schools today? We can make hip-hop great again. We can get our culture back again. We can get our life, our love, our morals, our integrity back again, and continue to follow the way that the Nation of Islam has been teaching, that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been teaching. A man of true hip-hop. Hip meaning to know, hop meaning to move. Take what you know and comprise a movement for changing your life, changing the world, changing your community. Self-improvement is the basis for community development. That's hip-hop. Why wouldn't you not teach it? Because to teach hip-hop is to teach the knowledge of self and the knowledge of God. So brothers and sisters, I want to show you what great women in hip-hop were like, so our sisters can aspire to be what once was. You know, Queen Latifah, MC Lyte, Lauryn Hill. These were the great queens and divas of hip-hop. And I'm going to close out showing you what they were, to show you sisters and brothers, especially our sisters, what you can be again. Thank you for watching Dynasty 48.1 Talk Radio.